Salutations, Queen of Shade here, popping back to do another video to kind of talk out my feelings and my emotions about what's been going on. With my emotions and with the death of someone that I really held dear. When I first found out that 31-year-old DeAndre Cottrell was missing, and not only that he was missing, that Julian Taylor Morris was missing as well, I flipped shit. And I'm going to tell you why I flipped shit. I flipped shit because I know the levels that there are to fame, success, notoriety. I've been doing this for 21 years. The vehicle has changed, but never the driver. I've been driving. I've gotten into multiple vehicles, and they've changed. New cars. But the destination has never changed. The driver, me, has never changed. I flip shit because I know what it's like to be social media famous and not famous out there, but your stalkers, your haters, the obsessed, they don't give a shit. To you, to them, you are an object of attraction. And when I found out that DeAndre and Julian were missing, 2/3 of a trio that I hold very dear, I flip shit because I know what it's like out here. I've been followed. I've been stalked. I've had all of those things happen. I've had to get the police involved before, just all kinds of things. Even now, my nephew is standing outside of this car, patrolling it, because my nephew is hood. And I'm not. And he's younger than me. And he not playing about his own. But I flip shit because I knew what it's like, for the world to say, oh, you're not famous. But your haters don't know the difference. To you or to them, you are an object of attraction. And with being an object of attraction, a lot of shit comes with it. So the Skii Boyz traveled all over America, dancing on prominent stages, working their way around the business, working their way up the ladder, and a lot of people knew who they were. And let's face it, it is not safe for 3 gay guys, 4 including myself, to do what we do when we reach so many people, to be traveling alone. A lot of us can't afford security everywhere we go yet. There's levels to this. So you gotta have people that have your back, that watch everything you do, everywhere you go, everything you eat. Like, you have to have that in place long before you reach the world stage. And I flipped shit because I thought one of their supporters or haters or obsessively compulsive people that watch them do what they do had gotten a hold of them. And that scared me. Then right after that, and I blew the whistle and said, community, we have a problem. 2/3 of the Skii Boyz are missing. We need to find out where the hell they are. And then people started sending me the Birmingham newspaper article that basically said they were gone. That DeAndre was found unalive, and Julian was still missing. For those of you that know me, I'm very serious about my boys. You guys don't know. I have thousands of boys, and I keep up with all of them. Their new post, whatever they're doing, conversation, and to honestly be truthful, I don't know how I do it and manage to complete all the work that I do for my business. I've just written it in to my daily order of operations. I'll do what I need to do, and then I will check on all my boys. And I don't always get to all of them in one day. No, it could take me a month, but I'm checking to make sure they're okay. You don't know. I've tried to tell you before without telling anybody's business. You don't know the conversations I've had on the phone with these boys. You don't know what they're facing. You don't know how hard it is for them to make ends meet. I know what it's like to be a viral sensation and not make a dime. I know what it's like to be traveling, literally, around the country on tour and not break even, not get paid half of what your white counterparts get paid. And I'm not saying that I know the financial innings and outings, inner workings of the Skii Boyz, but I can tell you, I can guesstimate that they weren't being paid what they deserved. I can tell you that because of the color of their skin. And a lot of us Black content creators have had to say to ourselves, well, they're not giving us the money, but at least the exposure will help. At least we'll get video footage. At least, people will see us doing things, and that'll lead to something larger down the road. But that's really taking an L. That's taking an L. When you can't demand that you are paid a certain amount of money for your gifts, that's an L. And when I did not know what was going on, when there were no answers, I was angry as shit and devastated. I was devastated. DeAndre was 31, healthy, a dancer, in great shape, worked out, all of them did. There was no reason for him to RIP. When they were missing, I had no idea that he was going to turn up RIP. That was the last thing. That was the furthest thing from my mind. And when it happened, I went berserk. And I know that a lot of you didn't understand why. A lot of you didn't understand why. A lot of you didn't believe that you could get to know someone over the internet. A lot of you people didn't know that I had sat down for interviews with a lot of these boys for 2 hours at a time and literally talked to them about their lives. And not just talk to them, given my advice, my expertise. Yeah, I'm 41 years old, and I know what it's like to be gay and homeless. And sorry, guys, I know what it's like to be gay and homeless and literally all out there on the street. And to not know how to survive and to be looking for help and not find it. I remember when I first was homeless, put out of my home when I was 19. I didn't know what I was going to do. I literally moved in with a young lady, and her mother. And I had only met that woman, young lady and woman, one time in the flesh. Because I was so devastated coming home from college that my uncle took me to a picnic. And I was sitting under a tree, crying my eyes out about my ruined life at 19. And she walked over to me with her beautiful afro. I'll never forget it. She was very Afrocentric, very wise, very Mother Earth. And she said, "Baby, I don't know you, but you are far too beautiful to be sitting under this tree, crying your eyes out. Whatever it is, you will survive it." And we exchanged numbers. And we talked for about 6 months. Next thing you know, she took me in. Because I figured out early that I couldn't stay with men. Being gay, I figured out real early that lodging with men wasn't going to cut it. So I went to women. And even that, I have babies that tell me they have been violated because they're homeless and this, that, and the other. I've had to call friends and call in favors to get my boys places to stay for the evening, the night, to get them off the street in the middle of the winter. You guys don't know my job. These babies are my job. I'm a shepherd, not a pastor, a shepherd. These babies who are not babies are my responsibility. They're my responsibility, and I take it very, very serious. So when I found out that DeAndre had RIP'd and that Julian was still missing, I flipped shit. I pointed fingers at everyone. I was asking, well, where were you? And where were you? And where were you? And where were you? That's just how my mind works. I need to see all of the components before I can determine what's missing. And I made a lot of people upset about that. But at the same time, they were hypocrites because I was doing it openly using my platform. But they were sitting around their kitchen tables with their friends in their friend groups, judging and doing the same exact thing. They were creeping down into their basements in the dark and sitting around campfires, discussing this, discussing their interactions. I had so many people discuss with me, oh, it could have been substance abuse. It could have been this. It could have been that. You know, dancers are this, that, and the other. Yeah, I had to hear all of that. And the whole time, DeAndre was missing. And Julian. And then DeAndre turns up RIP. My baby had 2 degrees under his belt. A bachelor's in marketing. A master's in public administration. And was working on his doctorate. There was no reason for him to have turned up RIP at his family's home in Alabama while they were all out front popping fireworks. According to the sister, DeAndre was on a path behind the house, walking through a neighbor's yard calmly, and he met his end at home with his family. That should not have happened. They put my baby in a shed like they were putting away a lawnmower. I am still in disbelief about this. The night terrors have stopped because I've done my own reconnaissance and research, and my anger turned into something else. When I did my research and it yielded me what I needed to know, I then realized that my mission had to change. My mission couldn't be just anger anymore. I had to prepare, as I always do, to talk the world through it. because I knew details about their private life were about to spill onto the public stage, the world stage. And people were going to judge them harshly. So my mission changed. It began to say, listen, what we're not going to do is judge them. What we're not going to do is pass this judgment, especially when you are one paycheck away from all kinds of things yourself. It began to be a mission of informity. Like I had to let people know, like, listen, no matter what we find out, DeAndre didn't deserve this. No matter what we find out. No matter what we find out, Julian didn't deserve this. We had no proof. And we all crucified him on a world stage. On a world stage. The other one was not even mentioned. He was not even mentioned as being a part of the relationship. This is very hard. But I still feel the need to tell you that I'm not sorry for anything I said. I'm not sorry. If something happened to me and I met an untimely end, I pray to God I'd have one person, at least one person, asking questions that nobody likes. Especially when there's little to no evidence, no trail, no nothing. I want somebody like me asking questions. And when I say I want somebody like me asking questions, me and DeAndre got along because he was a Libra. So am I. So he got somebody like himself asking questions. I still have a lot of questions. Right now I'm working on some spiritual things. Can't really go into that. I'm working on uncloaking his assailants because they're cloaked in the spirit realm. So I have to break through their cloaks because they're hiding. In plain sight, mind you. But listen, your arms are too short to box with the universe. Eventually it will come out. And it's not even a need for me to be able to say, I told you so. I need closure. I need to know who and why. Because nothing that that boy did in his life should have warranted that. At home, guys. He wasn't abroad. He wasn't in ATL. He went home to visit family. He took his boyfriend, one of them, and literally, while they were in the front of the house, he met an untimely end behind the house. Somebody knows something. Somebody knows something. Oh, yes. Somebody knows something. And just like you trouble water, that's what I'm doing in the spirit. I'm troubling minds. They're not going to be able to sleep. They're going to toss and turn. They're going to have bad dreams. Oh, yeah, I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I'm using all of my power. All of it. Every gift that I have, I'm using all 10 on this because this was unacceptable. I had a friend, and he asked me, as we were discussing this earlier, he asked me, what's your issue? What are you worried about personally? Why are you so troubled? And I answered him. I said, this spilled out of our community, the LGBTQIAP+ community, and this spilled into the straight community. When the details of their life come out and how they lived, the straight world is going to want to crucify us. See? Them gay people. They should look at that. They shouldn't be doing that. They into all of this and all of that. Look at them. Just unholy, unwholesome, like just terrible people. I knew that was coming. And I could not afford for us to be set back all these years. For us to be set back to Stonewall. I know the world is going to judge us harshly. Every gay, black, and Latin man. We're about to get it. And it's going to be hard to prove that we are not all reckless. We're not all reckless. But companies are not going to want to hire us. Endorsements, think about that. Brand deals, think about that. They're not going to want to touch us with a 10-foot pole. Because no, that's what they get into. I had it happen in my life. When I was younger, trying to apply for assistance for the state, SSD, because of my mental illness. To kind of take the responsibility off my grandmother, not all of it, so she wouldn't have to shoulder it all. And literally, I had a situation where one of my family members put something in my juice, a barbiturate in my juice. And I didn't know anything. I went into the hospital and did a urine test, and the urine was hot. And then months later, almost a year later, I'm standing before a judge, and he can clearly talk to me and see I'm as effeminate as hell. He stood up in the courtroom, y'all. He stood up in the courtroom and cursed me out and told me that he would never give Social Security disability to a drug addict. Someone whose mother did substances for 25 years of my life. I wouldn't touch the stuff with a 10-foot pole. Nothing. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't eat red meat. Nothing. And I already had to deal with a preconceived notion about who I am and what I do. I also said this to my friend. Gay culture is not like heterosexual culture. We are X, rock and roll, and substances. Whether they're marijuana or anything else, that's our life. And there is no reason, and I'm going to say it like I said to my friend, there is no reason that you shouldn't be able to swing your and still run a business. Because the truth of the matter is, everybody out here running businesses, even the Caucasian counterparts, they're slinging their just not in the public eye. And they're the ones with the kinks and the BDSM and all of that. I wish, as my friend said earlier, I wish that we were not overly sexualized. I wish that wasn't the only vehicle to get your attention, the world's attention. But just like women, they see hot men and they want to see us a certain way. And a lot of us have learned that we had to use that to our advantage. We had to get them into the store with our bodies and then show them our minds and get them to buy something. Because these are businesses. OF is a business. Adult entertainment is a business. Escorting is a business. The shit is not for shits and giggles. It's a business. So, I'm sick and tired of people telling us how it should look morally, because we don't have those kind of morals. No, we don't have those kind of morals. Do you know, gays, we do whatever we have to do to survive. Whatever. Nobody's going to help us. We've all fallen into situations where we should not have been in. And what people need to understand is that when you're starting a new business venture, everybody's not like me. They didn't have a grandma who saved money. They're starting from the bottom up. It's starting from the bottom up. It's hard. And it's hard because you have to maintain this image, this professional image. And you're not that yet. Imposter syndrome runs rampant in our community because you literally are spinning a narrative that you don't yet live or have. Do you know how long it took for my narrative to catch up to my life? We're not even going to talk about that. But I've heard star after star after star say you have to be damn near delusional to make your dream come true, to manifest your dream. You have to spin it until that shit is a reality. I did it. I was in a 1-bedroom apartment. Well, no. Yeah, I was. I was in a 1-bedroom apartment when I started with no furniture on YouTube, 2008, singing my heart out. The world came to me then. I deleted that channel. All those covers, because they didn't matter anymore. I moved to the next level and I had my own music. So I didn't want those covers out there anymore. But the world doesn't understand. The world does understand. Let's get that right. The world does understand. They just don't care. They don't care. Nobody cares that we came from humble beginnings. If we can't pay, like I used to get so mad because I used to say this, food is something that you need as a necessity every day. If you don't eat, you will RIP. And yet and still there's a price on it. It's not free. It's not free. That is deplorable. If we need food to survive, it shouldn't cost. Now, if you want a dining experience, going to a restaurant, now that's a luxury. But as far as food, a supermarket, you should be able to go in a supermarket and get what you need and not have to worry about how much it costs. But the world doesn't care. Capitalists don't care. They want their pound of flesh. They want their pound of flesh. In my research, I learned some things about the group, the Skii Boyz. And I just want to make sure that we all look at them with the respect that they deserve. It's not easy. It wasn't easy doing what they were doing. They had the eyes of the world, but they didn't have the paycheck. I can tell you that. They didn't have the paycheck to match. They didn't have that. We rarely ever do. It takes years for our paycheck to catch up to our work. But we have to keep working because we're entertainers. We're all entertainers. This is what we do. My nephew said something to me last night, because people, well, he had a college degree. Why did he do what he did? Because he did a college degree and he did the college road to get out of Alabama. Speculating here. He didn't tell me this. To get out of Alabama. Realized he had escaped something. And then you get out. You can take care of yourself. You can make 2 ends meet. And then you start to find out what you really want to do. I used to give this advice to a lot of my young models and entertainers and artists. I used to say, go to school, get your degree. And then after you get your degree, you'll be like 23, 24 years old for a bachelor's. Then decide what you want to do. But get that degree so you don't have to do customer service for pennies on the dollar. So you can go and work for nothing less than $40,000. That's just an estimate, I'm just saying. But you at least can work and make money and work on what you're doing at night when you're not at work. My biggest pain was not finishing college. For a while it was. I'm over it now. But for a long time it was not finishing college because I didn't have the salary to match. And that was the thing. I was forced to take fucking hourly jobs and they didn't pay enough. They didn't pay enough. I had to damn near kill myself at work. Literally. I worked at the phone sex place. I worked 6 days a week and every holiday. It was so difficult that Christmas and Thanksgiving were catered at work. My boss was Jamaican. So she brought in the roti and smoked turkey and the greens and all of that. That was catered. It was catered because we were all at work. We were all at work, servicing predominantly Caucasian men, because the ramifications of who could call were so strict that it literally was like, if you're not white, you can't get through. The girls and I used to flip whenever we would hear a voice and he sounded black. And we only got those rarely. And I always pulled out the stops for them. I always gave the best scenarios, the best imaginative thinking, the best descriptions, the best adjectives for two nouns. And we used to always have to describe a noun with two adjectives. It had to be long flowing hair, curly, soft. It had to be almond shaped eyes. It always had to be descriptive because they couldn't see us. They couldn't see us. But I did. When I first heard of the news, I was angry. And I was out of control. And you would be too if you loved somebody and found out that something untimely happened to them. I do not apologize for anything that I said, because I didn't accuse. I asked questions. To this day, I asked questions. I can't accuse anyone. There are some things to me that still stand out that shouldn't have happened. But now I'm waiting. For the police. I'm waiting for them to do their job. I'm waiting for their investigators to yield the findings of their investigation. I've calmed down because I have to be here for the rest of my community, because we're going to have to talk about this. This is going to be the subject of many table talks, many podcasts. Yeah, and I'm not looking forward to that, because I'm not going to let nobody disrespect my boys. None of them. So, this was basically a sorry, not sorry. Just a sorry, not sorry. I'm not sorry. I'll never be sorry for what I said and how I acted, because I acted like I lost someone I loved. I called him my baby because he was. And nobody need know that. But now you do. They all were my babies. All of them. They all were. All these men are my babies. And I will make sure that my babies are seen in a positive light. I know about imaging. I know about the narrative. I do not want my boys to be painted in an unflattering light. And I'm prepared to go to war with the straights whom don't understand our community, don't understand how sexualized it is, because we're men. We're men. Everything is overly. Yeah, that's how we are. People, how can you be on those dating sites? They're not dating sites, they're hookup sites. How can you do that? Well, having X is like saying hello in my community. It's not for procreation. The only reason why we have X is for fun. And the straights don't understand that. It's always, oh, children. No. We have X for fun. It's the only reason why we do it. For fun. And they can't understand that. There's so much about our community they don't understand, and I refuse to let them try to put us try to spin us into this conservative narrative that, oh, we should be this, and this is a cautionary tale, and we should watch, and we should be careful, and we shouldn't allow this, and we shouldn't allow that. And I will not allow them to crack down on us, especially when they don't understand our community. So, that's what I had to say right now. I'll be back. Because whether these people like it or not, I had to block people that never supported me, never commented, never nothing. And then they come out of somewhere, oh, you're doing this. Mind your fucking business. because you're doing the same thing around your kitchen table with your quote unquote friends, judging, mind you, but literally you're one paycheck away from broke. This is the plight of black men. Don't play with me. You may like your job, yes, but your job is not paying you enough to where you can afford to leave it. You're making somebody else rich. So don't judge us for striking out on our own and making mistakes and learning from them and still working for ourselves and getting better at it. Because you're still at that safety, cushy job while we're out here assuming all the responsibilities for our entire life. And it's okay. You can have your job. You can live that way. You can retire and have your 401k and your IRAs. But don't clown us. Don't clown us. That's what you're not going to do. That's what you're not going to do. On that note, I'm out of here.
Happy birthday, Queen of Shade. It's the Skii Boyz. We love you.
Make sure that you follow the Queen of Shade on all social media platforms. Stay up to date with social media posts, podcast episodes, merchandise drops, and mentoring specials. Serious booking inquiries, use the email provided.